But if you're really, really in love, then you would do all you can. Don't be a fool. That don't mean like just settle and put up with the BS, but also have a spirit of discernment. Understand, like, okay, is this something that I can work through? Do I have the capacity to work through this? And if I don't, I'm going to communicate that with my person, and maybe we can figure this out together. Um, and because if you don't, you're never going to have a successful relationship if you're thinking like every relationship that you're going to be in is going to be a cakewalk. And that's not realistic, especially if you're black and queer or brown and queer. Like, it's not going to be easy.
This is the Black Gay Agenda. Let's get into some things.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the Black Gay Agenda podcast. We're so grateful to be back, but this episode is very, very special. It is the Black Gay Love Agenda, and we have two very special guests with us today. I can't wait to introduce y'all to them, but before we check in, I gotta know, because what's y'all plans for Valentine's Day? Do y'all got something going on? You know, y'all spending time with y'all lovers, y'all spending time with y'all friends. Like, what's the tea? What's going on, Micah?
So yeah, Justin. I will be spending Valentine's Day with two of my booze. One of them's, he's flying in to come see me and everything. The other one, he's staying here in Chicago. But no, for real, we are doing the Black Gay Agenda weekend. Basically, for all of y'all who don't know, season 3 is coming next month. So we're gonna get in the studio and record y'all some live episodes. We're going to be shooting season 3 promotion material. It's gonna be real cool. I'm excited about it. But I do have a little, friend or whatever, and we're probably gonna do something either before the weekend or like that following week. I don't really like doing stuff the weekend of Valentine's Day because it just be crazy. Restaurants be crazy, service be terrible. It's just too much.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And you know, your booze can't wait to see you too.
Yeah,
Since I'm one of the booze, so I can't wait to fly in. And
Right, I was like, we are the
booze. I can't wait to fly in with y'all. But what about you, Alex? What you got planned?
Well, that weekend, I'm one of the booze, so I will be doing that. Getting that content in order. I'm super excited about that. I'm just like Micah as far as like doing stuff like that weekend for Valentine's Day is a lot. And this will actually be my first single Valentine's Day in 6 years. So yeah, and that's all I'm ready to share at this moment.
As you should.
I may do something. I may not.
Period.
The whoever I'm doing it with will find out.
What's the day called? What's the day called?
Valentine's Day?
Okay. I thought you said Valentine.
You know damn well that I ain't say no goddamn Valentine's Day. I did not. You know damn well I ain't say that. Because I would have paused the whole thing to stop one of y'all if y'all had
I had to make sure.
Brother. Not too much.
Not
too much on him.
Please.
Not too much on him. But as for me, pretty much same as the fellas, I'll definitely be flying into Chicago. I love Chicago and I love spending time with my bros. So I think, and I value platonic love the most. So I think for me, I think I'm gonna be fulfilled. Even though I'm single, I'm actually practicing abstinence right now. So I'm not really looking to explore. However, I am open to flirting. So if you're listening to this and you're gonna be in Chicago, let me know. But enough of me though. We have two very, very special guests here today. Spaz and Ty. Spaz, what are your plans for Valentine's Day? What do you introduce yourself to the people and let us know what you're going to be doing for Valentine's Day?
Absolutely. What's up, everybody? My name is Spaz. You can find me at Kiss My Spaz on social media. My plans for Valentine's Day, if Pookie and Stink act right, we'll do something. I haven't figured it out yet. So
is that a 3 on 1 date?
It could be.
Ooh,
It could be. Yeah.
Very interesting.
that's exciting. That sounds very
Very.
fun.
We might catch a flight or something like that. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. It's crept up on me. It goes Valentine's Day and then birthday, like right back to
Oh,
back. So
What's your
14th
birthday
and then
again?
my birthday's January 11th, but Pookie's
Okay.
birthday is the 22nd. So it's like boom, boom.
Mm.
Yeah.
well,
So
you got
that's
to
about
figure that
it.
out. You got this.
You
It'll
know, I
come to
always
you.
do. I always do. So there'll be no complaints.
Period.
Period. And what about you, Mr. Ty? Like, let us know who you are and what are your plans this Valentine's Day?
So you can find me on Instagram. Well, my name is Tashim Ingram. You can find me on Instagram at the Tashim. For Valentine's Day, I'm going to be out of the country. I'm actually leaving in like a few hours. So yeah, I'll be out of the country.
Ooh,
Yes.
where y'all headed?
We're going to Paris. Me and my husband, we did a photo shoot, and the photographer is putting photo shoot in an exhibit, and then he wants to shoot us for a couple of days. So I'll be out there.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. That
That's
actually
dope.
sounds like a movie.
Thank you.
And y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? He said husband,
My
okay?
husband.
My husband, okay?
While we out here
Period.
sitting around, running around, looking for who we. Y'all know I quote Phaedra often, so don't judge me.
Meanwhile, he's gonna be in Paris with his lover. That's actually how you do Valentine's
Husband.
Day.
Husband.
Husband, yes, husband, lover, everything that falls under lover. That's amazing. However, though, before we actually jump into the topic, y'all already know we got to start with our Twitter talk segment just to get the juices flowing. And I want to hear what y'all got to say about this. I actually came across this tweet that was very interesting from Popbase. So at Popbase, shared a video of Janelle Monae. She was at the Grammys after party and she was on stage freestyling and saying some things. So this is what the tweet specifies. If you all haven't seen the video, just go to Popbase page on Twitter and you'll be able to see it there. So it specifies Janelle Monae calls out Nelly during the Grammys after party for performing at Trump's inauguration. Open quote. Fuck you, Nelly. You sold out. I used to think you were cool, but now you look like a motherfucking fool. So I gotta know,
Period.
is she
End
wrong for saying that? Period. Right. Period. End quote. But how y'all feel about that? Y'all think she's wrong for saying that? She's right for saying that? And that's my first question. How do y'all feel about what she said?
I think that she was wrong for saying it. Only reason why is I feel like this is not a time for us as a culture to be divided. So while I think we all share the same statement that we are disappointed in Nelly for his choices, I don't think we should be publicly bashing him, for his choices. That's a conversation we should have in-house.
Mm.
Mm,
quote.
So, mm, I hear you, right? I hear you. But at the same time, Nelly don't give a fuck about that.
Period.
Nelly took his Cornell took his ass up there, and did what he did, and then not just double down, but triple down on it. He can, and I'm a military vet, so I it rubbed me the wrong way when he was like, just like military vets, uh, follow the president regardless of who the president is. I did my duty as an American and I performed like, bro, you performing for Trump for money is not the same as soldiers out here risking their lives because they have to. So that's number
Correct.
one. I get like keep stuff in house and I get that. But it's hard to keep stuff in house when you got the house nigga being proud of being the house nigga. You feel me? And then it's not
Right.
lost on me. Like we're making all these concessions for Nelly. We're making all these concessions for
Snoop.
Soldier Boy telling we're making all these concessions for Snoop Dogg, but we let Chrisette Michelle just out there left her out there by herself, let her get canceled, let her get drugged, and all she did was perform a gospel song, and that's it. She did far, far, far less. So my thing is, we got to keep the same energy because they like Michelle still hasn't recovered from performing for Trump, right? They canceled her,
Mm-hmm.
but she was never able to recover. So when it comes to these guys, it's like, oh, it's okay. Nah, man, fuck Nelly. No, fuck him.
I agree.
Yeah.
Honestly, sorry about that, Alex. I just got to jump
Are
in
you good?
because this thought came to me because at the end of the day, he publicly decided to perform for the inauguration. So I feel like she publicly did her due diligence by expressing how she feel and being real about it. Because people probably thinking this, but didn't have the courage to even like say it on the platform with their platform like Janelle Monae did. And the second thing is because y'all already know how to throw some history in there. Black men, they're going to automatically benefit from chauvinism, right? Because in America, whiteness and maleness is already at the top of the totem pole. Him being a man still give him that leeway to have more benefits than the gospel singer Chrisette Michelle, if I'm saying that correctly. He still had the benefits of being able to be. Oh, he made his money. He did what he needed to do. However, you're out now. So I say that all to say that I agree with Miss Janelle Monae because or Janelle Monae because they. However, it's just like some things have to be said. Period.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I'm sick of fucking being quiet because we gotta be respectful. Fuck them. Fuck us. They say fuck us. Fuck them. Like for real. Like what are you doing? You're a fool. Because right after that, guess what just happened? The person that Trump hired as secretary. What did he just say? We ain't he's this is not a quote, but I'm summarizing it up from what I heard. He said something to the matter of we all need to be in our place, and the people that need to run this is capable white men. And y'all take y'all clown monkey asses on this stage, and y'all jump around for these motherfucking people that don't even know your music. First of all, y'all doing all this performing and doing it, and they don't even know it for a check. So yes, y'all sold out. You sold out. You did.
Agree.
And just like you did it, she can say you did it because we all saw it. Like, why are we scared to say it? We saw what you did. And the other thing too is let's not I commend her for saying something because she not only did she say something, everybody kind of low-key did, not necessarily towards Nelly, but about what's going on when they did their speeches. Because if I'm an artist and you're an artist and you out here doing shit like that, and then your excuses, I'm a part of this country, and as an artist, hold up, homie, we all don't feel like you. So let me say what I'm saying because I don't feel like you. So I commend her for saying it because that's her taking her stand to say we don't all feel like that and we don't respect that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I also
That's
love
just
the
how I
fact
feel about it.
I love the fact that she said it while singing his song. And I think that's pretty iconic. Like, I think that's pretty badass if you ask me. Like, I'm gonna sing your song and call you out at the same time.
Absolutely.
Loudly on a mic.
Exactly.
I love that she pointed out, like, yeah, I'm a little drunk, but I know what the fuck I'm saying.
Period.
Right. It's the accountability for me, regardless of her experience at that time.
I'm gonna say it tomorrow when I sober up, okay?
Okay.
I just want to say it right now, but I'm gonna say it again tomorrow.
But I do, to Tashim's point though, I do recognize that there are times where we should keep things in house, right? I don't think we as a community do that enough, keeping things in house. However, for me in my house, this is not one of those keep it in house things because I see Nelly as an op. And this isn't a thing of you're supporting a Republican, right? I could give two fucks if you're a Republican, Democrat, and Democrat, Independent. This is more so that you're supporting someone who who is a threat to my existence, who is a threat to the existence of people I love and who I'm in
His own
community with.
fucking existence.
I'm in community with black women, community with black LGBT, black gay men, black gay women, black trans men, black trans women, women. I am a supporter of women in general, especially black women and
Hello.
women reproductive rights. So like when you're
Absolutely.
attacking all of the things that are near and dear to my heart, and then you have somebody else out there who's supporting that, yeah, you're an op, and I can't sit with you because I see you as an enemy.
at all.
I agree.
Hmm.
I agree. And to add to that too, because I feel like it's not only because of him, because he's a celebrity. I'm holding everybody accountable
Mhm.
from all parts of my life. You know, whether if you near and dear, or you far away. Because at the end of the day, if you're voting for someone who, or entertaining someone who ultimately want to dismantle the rights of all of us, I can't respect you simply. So, anyways, second question is for this segment. How important is representation in media for Black individuals? You already know, we already got to see that a few weeks ago during the Grammys, right? So how could we continue to showcase our existence in representation in media for people like us?
I think it's very important. And I love when anytime a Black artist gets a chance to get on a mic and receive an accomplishment, they acknowledge that there is a Black boy, a Black child, a Black person, someone that looks like them watching them, because we are.
Mhm.
And we have a lot of eyes on us because we have been basically trained and shown that we have to work triple as hard, and or
Mm-hmm.
if not, those opportunities will not exist for us. For
Mhm.
that local rapper, they may only seem like they're going to be that local rapper, but who would have thought that they have the ability to win a Grammy, or have photo shoots in Paris, or have your art seen by the masses. So I think it's really important that we as a community continue to push each other and support each other, because we're going to have our backs. We're the only ones that's going to have our backs, and then I think that's what's going to create the splash that we need. And also in that same tone, just it's important because we have to build each other up. We have to understand that there's enough room at the table for us all to sit, and that when one make it, we all make it. And I
Mhm.
think
Mm-hmm.
there's so much more history to be made. Like we all rallied behind Beyonce to win that AOTY, and we did not let her down. And then I look, we have people like Doechii who won, and we stood beside her and supported her and her music. And look, so it just shows that no matter what, we have to support each other, because we have to create the representation that we want to see, um, one way or another. So I think it's really important to your point.
Oh, that's so good, and
Yeah.
it makes me think of I think especially as creatives, everybody on this podcast right now, we're all creatives, right? And I think it's important for us as Black creatives, it's important us for as Black LGBTQ creatives to really realize and recognize that art is revolutionary, right? If you look back in history, some of the greatest music, some of the greatest films came out of time of uncertainty for Black people,
Mhm.
right? That
Mhm.
came at times of uncertainty for like marginalized communities, right? You think of the Harlem
Mm-hmm.
Renaissance, you go forward, you think about some of the music of the civil rights movement, some of the films of the civil rights movement. Even in recent memories, you think of everything that came out of the killings of unarmed Black men and women. You think of like
Mhm.
albums like To Pimp a Butterfly. You feel me? Like all of these things,
Mm-hmm.
like literally during the George Floyd Breonna Taylor protests,
Mm.
We Gonna Be All Right by Kendrick Lamar was like the soundtrack and the anthem of a lot of the movement that was going on out there. So I think this is a
Mm-hmm.
time where our rights are being attacked, where our existence is being targeted. I think this is an important time for us to come together and just create art. And all the
Mhm.
art doesn't necessarily have to center around the struggle. It just has to be art, right? Because it could be an escape. It could be something. I feel like this is a time where people are going to be. I don't want to get on social media every day and see 100 stories about 40, 45/47, right? I don't
Mhm.
want to see that. I want to be able to get on and like just enjoy art. So I think it's important for us to just to continue to create, to continue to tell our stories, and always remember that our art is revolutionary.
Mhm.
I agree 100%. I definitely think yesterday was, excuse me. I agree 100%. I definitely think the Grammys was so inspiring, you know, like seeing Beyonce and seeing how hard she worked. I was having a conversation with my mentor, and I was like, what I learned from seeing her and her finally getting the album of the year was the struggles is a part of life, and it's what makes the plot good. You know, like what if she would have always won it? You know, what if she would have for every album she would have got it? It would have been like, oh, okay, whatever. But I feel like it just made her be like, okay, like I gotta keep working harder. I gotta prove more. I gotta prove more, and that's what I got. So that's why I think representation is so important, and it's important to celebrate each other, celebrate each other even in our losses. You know, like continue to keep pushing each other. So I think it's really important.
Even to your point to Beyonce, even one in I ditto is that as you said that, I was thinking that what if she would have gave up? We would
Right.
not have this story to tell. Like she made history, but also we probably would have never gotten some of the best work that we've gotten from her over time. And she's also made it clear that, and this is to all artists and creatives, that don't create for acknowledgement, don't create for the accolades. Create for yourself, create what you love and what you're passionate about, and then all of that stuff will come. If it's true to you, do it. If it's you rebelling, do it. All of that other stuff is going to come with the territory. She's told us before that she don't give a damn about the awards. Like she could live without them. Like she's going to continue to create music that she wants because she doesn't need them. But the accolades do come from that, and her not giving up is a true testament to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say too a couple things. So what you just said, I think doing a work that represents you and who you are and all the aspects of you, and then for that to be rewarded instead of doing the work because you want to win an award, so you're going to do what you think that people want you to do, it's much more sweeter. It's much more sweeter for me to be myself and be my authentic self, and I get an award just for being me, right? That means that you all accept what I gave. You love my art because you love my art, not because you love my effort in trying to get this award or accolade. So I think that's really big. I think the other thing too is it's something you said about going back to representation for us. You use the word and it really, really, really shows, or like it kind of like gives that visual of what that representation actually does. And you said splash. You said they make a splash, and that as soon as you said that, it clicked for me, because if I jump in the puddle and you're nearby watching and that water gets on you, well, now that fear that you had of that water is gone because it touched you already. So that splash touched you, and now you have the motivation to go ahead and make your own splash now because you saw somebody do it, you felt how the water felt, and you can do it. So that's when you said that, it really started like turning in my head, like that is perfect, because that is exactly what it is. That splash radiates outward and everybody around gets to feel it, you know what I mean? And then they get to participate in it too. So that's huge. And that's literally what representation does. Representation shows that it can be done. It shows that there are other people doing this, right? And that you that are creative, that are quirky, that are nerdy, that is weird, that is like clearly, like Dochi was saying, that is loud, that is all these things you are. You don't have to change who you are to be liked. And then back to what I said before, because you'll win an award just for being you. Right. So I really love that. And that's just the power of representation. We know that it has power because we see that they keep trying to take it away. They, in every aspect of everything that we've ever done as a people, being Black, being gay, every time there's representation, they try to take it away. And sometimes some of our own don't get it. It's very similar that how they were doing during the civil rights movement, when we wanted to see Black actors and we wanted to see Black people in roles and in movies and television, not just being mocked and being made. We were wanting to see representation, and they were wondering why. Even recently with, the comic books and representation of Black characters in movies and things like that, they get upset when there's representation. Why? Because it makes more people want to do it. And the fear is they're going to lose their footing. Right. So they don't want to see representation. They want the representation to be them. They released that image on the website about what the family nucleus looks like. What did that represent? We didn't see us, did we? Right. That's the representation that they wanted to show. So representation is it's propaganda at its finest. It's what it is. And the best propaganda of diversity is seeing everybody. And if you don't see everybody, then what is it?
Ultimately, you all answered the question so well and so beautifully. and it was very empowering to hear. And it allows us to get a good glimpse on what we're going to be talking about next in the next segment. But we're about to go on break, and we'll be back right after this.
All right, what's good, everybody? What's good? We just paid the bills. It's your boy, Michael B. I'm here with two amazing individuals, Tashim and Spaz, and they are the stars in the film Just Us Two. All right, Just Us Two. You can go to YouTube right now and you can just listen. If you go to the notes, the show notes, we put the link there. So make sure you do that. All right. But we're gonna get into some things, and I am going to ask them some questions, and we're gonna start diving into the film. Okay. We have Tashim and Spaz here today. They are a part of just this amazing film.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it the other day, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna hold you. Towards the end of it, I was like, "Ooh, my allergies was, my allergies was doing its
Hmm.
thing." Um, but okay, let's start talking about your characters, right? So first of all, I want to know, and either one of you could start off. Um, what was it like stepping into the roles of Wes and Wave? Did you relate? I know the answer for one of you at least. Did you relate to them personally, or was it something like completely different? Was it a new experience? Like, talk to me about that.
Go ahead, Waves.
So it was so personal because it was my life. But it was such a long time ago in my life. So kind of stepping back into that space was scary because it was just like, oh, okay, like we're going back there, we're gonna dig that up, and I had to have that uncomfortable conversation with my husband to make sure that I portrayed it correctly. So I just really wanted to see what his insight was, because I lived it. I knew what my experience was. So just having a conversation with him and seeing what his experience was, and he didn't hold back. It was just it was a lot, but I was excited because I felt like during that time in my life, back to conversation representation, I didn't see anyone that looked like me that was going through what I was going through. So I was excited to kind of be that for boys and girls and days and numbs that can see this film and see themselves.
So you real quick follow up. So actually we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. Spaz, do you want to talk about did you relate to this character? Did you have to do some form of method acting to like really understand? Like talk to me about that.
Kind of, sort of. So as you can see, or as you've seen, Wes was a very caring character. He did not want to give up. He was really persistent in fighting for what he wanted. And I don't want to say I'm the opposite, but I'm not gonna beg and plead. I'm a Capricorn, so it's gonna be like, oh, you want to be like that? All right, cool. All right. So it was a kind it was kind of a challenge. Being that. But overall, no, I don't. It wasn't too much of a hard challenge at all. Tashima and myself, we worked on a project before this, which kind of made uh, me tapping into that character a lot more comfortable, a lot more easy. We weren't too afraid to tap into all of that together. And it really, as I was being the character, it really like show that I can be this person. And also while shooting this, of course, while Tashim was like playing his character and go through the fields, of course, I had to portray that character in real time. So it was really cool. And having his husband on set and having been around him a few times, well, multiple times, I was able to like watch and see how they interacted and watch how um, Tashim's husband interacted with him and how they were, and get a good sense of his heart and kind of added that to the character.
I love that. I love that. And
That's
speaking of
awesome.
your husband, Tashim, it was crazy. It was a full circle moment because I was watching. I said, "Oh shit, that's his husband. Oh, they are married." When I did New York Fashion Week in 2017, I want to say it is. Um, he was one of the models that I had selected. Rocked one of my melanin shirts. I had this melanin Polaroid shirt, and like we posted it. The picture went like super crazy, and so yeah, it was just like a really cool full circle moment. But this film carries a lot of heavy emotions, right? So I want to ask each of you all about how you prepared for it mentally and emotionally, but especially for you, Tashim. How was it going back to that place, a place that you've probably graduated from, right? And you've overcome. How was it going back into that spot and having to kind of just like, relive it through your acting?
So therapy was one of the big things that helped me get prepared for the film. When I first had a conversation with my therapist, he was just like, "Are you insane? I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know, if you have the tools." But like, I am a Virgo, so like, I knew I had the tools. I knew I can go there. But I just really talked through everything with my therapist, and again, having those conversations with my husband, it really did prepare me, and having him on set helped me as well because he is my safety net. So anytime I felt like things were getting a little hard for me, I would just look at him. We filmed a lot of it in my home. So that also helped because my home is my safe space. So it was not as hard as one would think, but it was difficult going back there.
I love it. Okay, okay, okay. That makes sense. And then for you, Spaz, what did you do? What was the process?
There really wasn't much of one actually. So we would do a few table reads, and so I already knew what I was getting myself into. So we would do the table reads a few times for a night or so, and then even the day of, we would kind of like rehash, like, okay, this is going to be a heavy scene. Like this is going to be heavy in this moment. Let's take a breather. Let's take a moment. For me, I would sometimes. I'm a Capricorn, and I'm gonna keep rehashing that. I'm a Capricorn, so I have a lot of arguments and things and situations in my head that I can just bring back to the front, like, oh, I wish I would have said that. So I would go back to that a lot and be like, okay, let me bring out those emotions in this. Though it, a lot of it was like, it wasn't super duper heavy for me,
Okay.
um, being that I was the one like kind of having to like fight in the relationship in the film. Um, but still just getting my head there, thinking about past situations, thinking about arguments or times I should have fought or things I should have said in those moments kind of like helped me get back into like that space.
Mm, okay. Okay, so were any of the scenes challenging for y'all? Was any of those scenes hard? And if so, why was it hard? Why was it challenging?
I'm gonna go first on this one. I
Okay.
think he already knows what I'm about to say. So it wasn't for me. Nothing was a challenge for me.
Okay,
But
Giselle. Okay,
okay, period.
Giselle.
All right.
Tell us.
Period. The opener, if the shimmy that Tashim has to do,
Uh-huh.
we did 20 takes. He could not get that down. And it was some of the most simple choreography. He couldn't get it down pat. So like the two left feet line was real. Like that
Oh,
was
that
for
was
real.
real.
There was a lot of improvisation happening in that film. So that line alone was a callback to that. Like homeboy really has two left feet. Love you dearly, Tashin, but you got two left feet, man.
Was that because you actually have two left feet, or was that being comfortable being in that intimate space with somebody other than your husband?
Yeah, it was that. It was like dancing in your underwear in front of him, my husband, the cameraman was there. It was like a lot. And then like when I practiced it in my head by myself, because I practiced it like so many times by myself, it just felt different. And then when I was like doing it in front of them, I'm like, and then like they were all quiet, like they wasn't like saying anything. So it's like quiet and shit. I gotta make it around a couch. I gotta remote the shimmy. It was a lot. It was a
That
lot.
that bottle of wine that you see in the very beginning of that same
Yes.
scene, we finished that in the amount of takes it took. Like a lot of fake sips turned into real sips. Like it took that much.
Yeah.
Wow, I love it. I
That's
love it. I
funny.
love like when the curtain peels back and you see those type of things. Y'all have pretty good chemistry. We can see the chemistry here just as we're talking right here. Um, I'm assuming y'all are friends already. How did you like build that chemistry? Build trust with each other. Like, what was that process like? And then even if you are friends, it's a difference between hey, we friends, and then hey, we have to be believable, right? We have to be believable as partners. And for as a viewer, y'all came off pretty believable. You know, you see certain things like when Queen Latifah was with
Sure.
Common and Just Right, and you was like, okay, come on now.
I would
Y'all
not
did
be able to do
good,
that with
Common and
none of
Queen
my
Latifah.
friends. I laugh too much. I laugh too much. If I had done with any of my friends, as soon as it would have got heavy, I would have just busted out laughing. I would have been
Yeah.
um,
Um, uh,
you go ahead, Sashin.
so we didn't know, like, okay, so I met Spaz through, we worked with the same photographer, and
Mm.
had seen him work with the photographer, and I was like, oh, like, he's so dope, like, I want to work with him. So we did a film together, but he was, like, in and out of that film, like, he had, like, a small role. And then I, like, again, I seen, like, his potential, so I was like, I really want to work with him, and I want to, like, expand his character on expand like the roles that we do. So we had another project that we were working on that didn't work out, and in that project he played my significant other. So the entire summer we was working on that project, and he's playing my significant other. So we was getting comfortable with like those intimate moments and being around each other, and we kind of built that safetyness. I was able to be like, listen, nervous at this moment or I'm comfortable about this or like these are my worries. So I was able to lean on him in those moments. So then when it came down to just us two, it felt natural because we did it in the summertime.
Yeah, I agree. It was pretty much that working all summer long together, and playing love interest there. It kind of broke down that barrier that would have made it awkward for some people, I think. So it really made it a lot more easy. So it was really not awkward at all for me. I think for the both of us now that we've like said that. So
Mhm.
Okay. I love it. Yeah, y'all did good. Y'all did good. 10 out of 10. I got one more question real quick. Just want to take away. I just want to know like did any of these roles change the way you view love? Did it change the way you view relationships? Did it change the way you uh view mental health? Because those are three things: love, mental health, and
hmm
relationships, right? And I would probably throw in one more: communication. I think that was really, really, really one of the those were the focal points of this film. So like, did this
Right.
change your perspective on anything?
for me, I would say I learned a lot shooting this film. I didn't know what bipolar 2 was.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing what that looks like, because I think a lot of the conversations that Tashim and I would have, or that he would have with us, was that, being bipolar or having bipolar 2, the media portrays it to look really like aggressive, really manic. And honestly, that's kind of like what I had in my mind. Like,
Hmm.
oh, okay. It was somewhere around that, maybe if not that, but understanding in a more like surface level, like here in this film that we see, it doesn't always look like that.
Hmm.
So it just opened my mind up to like, different things that people may have maybe going through that they may not have said out loud, and maybe give an understanding that way versus just kind of like signing them off on being, oh, something else when they're not. Um, but it also made me I'm already a compassionate person by nature, even though I am a Capricorn, but it really brought out, the importance of communicating and the importance of being there and fighting with your partner for something, and not giving up on them because of their struggles, because that's the last thing that they would need. And if you really are in love and if you really love this individual, then you will fight for it and do all you can. And if finding help is the thing for that person, then stick around and like do that as best as you can if you have the capacity to do
hmm
so. So I think I learned that. And I thank you, Tashin, for having me a part of that, and letting this whole process be like a teachable moment for myself.
For
Yeah, that
me,
part.
sorry.
I was just gonna chime in on the last part he said about that sticking it out. When I got to that part of it, I was a little triggered because I um, have gone through situations, not necessarily mental illness, could be under the umbrella, but I remember, the effort that I put in, and then I was like, when it got to that point where you the characters wound up like sticking it out, I was like, how long? How long? But go ahead, Tashima. I'm sorry.
Um, I want to answer that question that you said, how long. So the reason why I don't think the film taught me anything because I wrote it during the
Yeah.
process. Um, I learned the other side of it. You know, I know what it's like to be the one with the mental health illness, but I got to learn the other side and what it's like to be the person on the other side of it, what it does for him and what that looks like for him. But to answer your question, the how long, the reason why it was so important for me to put this film out and have it out is because I think as a culture and as a generation, we love conditionally. Like we'd be like, oh, I love you until you do this, and then I don't love you no more. Or I love you until you look like this, I don't love you no more. I think it's important to showcase like unconditional love. Like if you truly love someone and you say you love someone, then you love them for all the things that they have because you have things. You know what I mean? Like you're coming in this relationship with your things, I'm coming in this relationship with my things, and it's important that we accept each other for those things. And you know, like Spaz said, get the help and talk that out. And you know, if you love someone.
Yeah, that's real. Honestly, while watching that film, that part where Wade was in the bathroom and Wade got vulnerable and everything about like his mental health issue, it made me think about like us. It made me think about Insecure when like Nathan kind of like ran off on Issa without explaining to her.
Mm.
But like, if he found it easier to run away than to be open and honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I did admire about Wave, even though Wave was pushing Wes away and trying not to talk about it and trying to do this and that, Wave eventually gave in because ultimately, even though it was hard for Wade to be vulnerable and transparent with Wes, ultimately he's seen the support and the care and the compassion that his partner had for him. It led him to be vulnerable and it led him to lean in. And I felt like that was powerful within his own right, especially with Black queer love, because even just seeing it in that perspective and touches so many important factors. But the part, just seeing him lean in and be vulnerable and be real, that part like was really, really touching. So
I agree. It does show that aspect of it. It does show that sticking it out aspect because we get so much of because I'm like Spaz, I'm a Taurus, and so it be so much, so much, so much until it's like, all right, well,
Hmm.
you've exhausted it. But we see that, right? We see that represented a lot. So to see the representation of the other side where, I am gonna be here for the long haul, regardless of what it is, regardless of how much it weighs on me. Again, the representation, right? Because we are more than one thing, right? We are more than the, you know, everybody ain't the tough guy. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Everybody's not that. Some people are a little bit more forgiving. Some people will allow it until we get it right. You know what I mean? So to see the multifacets of it all, it's real. That's what makes it real, right? It's real people. That gave me what Micah gave his reaction, right? He said it was emotional for him. And for me, it was also emotional because being similar, I don't want to say the same thing, but being similar to being on the other side of that type of situation, I remember how I felt too, because I was like effed up too, for lack of a better word. So like remembering how that felt and then being like, how long am I gonna do this? Because I'm suffering too. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
that's good though. But that's good because that we both got a feeling, right? And that's the whole point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alex,
absolutely.
Alex, before we start unpacking Wave's character,
Mm-hmm.
um, I just wanted to chime in. I love everything that all of you just shared. And something had you had asked earlier is like how long, right? Which is a fair question. Fair question. Like I said in our group chat when we were talking about it, I don't think there's a necessarily timetable. It depends on
Yeah.
like every
hmm
situation, depends on the people. But what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will say is I do feel like, and we speak about, I don't know what the straights are doing, right? But we talk about black gay men and our relationships, right? And I do feel, and this has nothing to do with you because you was in there, you was like a good Tyler Perry woman, right? You
Always.
stayed in that thing,
Always.
okay?
I'm a
You
Taurus.
you
We're creatures of habit. So we
listen,
try.
you
Not
stayed in that thing and
Tyler.
did what you needed to do, right? But I do feel like a lot of times in black gay relationships, we give up like really quick,
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
bro.
but
We
hmm
throw in the towel on relationships really quick. And I blame with like a lot of things, I blame social media a lot because a lot of people want relationships because of the aesthetic a
Mhm.
relationship, right?
Yes,
They
absolutely.
want a relationship because I want to post my boo. Me and my boo matching pajamas. Matching PJs. Me and my boo on vacation. My boo took me out for my birthday. My man, my man, my man. Right? It's cool. Everybody loves the first post when you pop up with your significant other. But then after that, it's like, oh shit, we're in this now. We're in a
Mhm.
relationship now. This requires work. And I feel like a lot
Mhm.
of people, and I've been there in the past, people get into things out of, they don't want to be lonely, they want companionship, or they just want people to know, hey, I got somebody, we doing our thing. But then like when it
Right.
comes time for the work, people don't want to do the work and we give up real easy. In the first argument, the first disagreement, the first this, that, and the third is like, oh, I'm giving up. I can't do this. I don't have time.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
Y'all ready? Protecting my peace. And
Don't we love how
what,
when black people got access to therapy, they start using these words to take us out the
listen, everybody want to protect their peace, but a lot of times you're the chaos.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay,
You're the chaos.
You're the
You're the
chaos.
non-peace.
So
you're the problem for real.
you're the problem. So I that's what I loved about this film. Because it just showed that, sometimes love is long suffering, right?
Mm.
And I'm not saying that you gotta be in a struggle relationship and struggle love, but I also don't feel like you should just throw in the towel when shit gets hard.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think to your point too, as you were saying, that makes me think about something I often say offline in real life. And like a call back to this film is that um it showed the realness in like once that cupcake phase is over. As you see in the very beginning of this, like you said, shit gets real. And what I
Mhm.
love about it is that, never at one point did Wes take any of that information or take the situation and flip it. He
Hmm.
didn't give up and be like, well, you just fucked up or da 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 da. Or even when he found out that Waves was had bipolar disorder too, is like he didn't flip it. He didn't weaponize it against him. He didn't find an excuse. He didn't make it about himself. Um, and in real life, like you said, people want relationships. People want love, but they only think of it in the sense of like that cupcake phase. But then once that's over, not saying that that can't stay, things are going to get real. And I've seen it. I've been in situationships, and even where giving up was like the option. It was like, okay, I'm done. Like you said, protecting my peace, moving differently. I'm elevating in life. I don't need this in my life. I don't need the negativity. This is toxic. And it's sticking it being this character. Wes just show like emotional maturity
Yes.
and
For sure.
and accepting and being there like through all of it, even though he didn't know what was going on. He just knew that there was something off, and being able to identify that and not give up, not leave, not walk away, not make waves feel less than, make waves feel little, or flip the script or anything like that.
Hmm.
The message there was like, if you are in love and if you want it, fight for it, stick it through. Because there's gonna be shit that happens. No relationship
Hmm.
is gonna be a smooth sailing. You ask some people that have been married for 20 years, they go through shit. Sometimes they divorce and get back together. Like things happen. And some people can make it past the first month, first year, even after being in a relationship to where they are able to experience that. The first sign of any altercation or conflict, they run. So I
Yeah.
think this film is a testament to what it looks like on the other end. Because also media portrays it that way, that as if we are incapable of holding love and keeping
Yes.
love and
Hmm.
being present. Um, what is shown in the media is that, oh well, one is just going to give up and leave, and then they're just going to be hating each other or like release a lot of static with each other. But it
Hmm.
showed the opposite side of that more realistically, I feel.
And to jump to your point about the media and the representation about that, that's another reason why it was so important for me to put this film out, is because I think as a gay black man, we don't know because we don't see it. I really wanted people to see like what happens after you fall in love. I think all the films is about like the guy is DL and they fall in love and okay, like what happens after that? Like what happens after you
Not the guys
guys,
DL.
we
Right.
move on. So I think it's important because I don't think people see that part. I think they just see like the hookup part, but they don't see like
Mhm.
okay, things get real, like conversations get real.
Mm.
No, that's real.
Yeah. I was going to say that, like, you're absolutely right, Ty. Like, I feel like, you know, we never even seen representation like that growing up in media of seeing Black gay love and seeing how like sustainable Black gay love is, right? However, just even seeing your film and just not only seeing the fairy tale side, right, but you also got to see like the actual work that's being done to even maintain and sustain a marriage as is. And I feel like that's from all scopes of love. So the fact that you got to display that was very, very important.
Thank you.
The next segment that we're going to go into, we're going to get a little bit more into the characters and some of the feelings that they had. So some of the questions that we had about that was as far as Wave's character, right? So in the film, there was a part when he was unable to like really talk about like what was going on, right? What was happening, didn't want to like share, didn't want to do anything. It was almost kind of like a depressive state, right? Like what in that moment were you feeling to portray that, or what, or explain that part of it? Because a lot of us don't understand. I kind of want to do this too, and this is not part of what we talk about, but I'm big on defining things and making sure people understand, because people don't understand, right? So like, first part of it, how does that play into how bipolarism works, right? How does that behavior that was being exhibited during that time, how does it play into, what bipolar is and what it makes you, how it makes you react to people and those around you? Yeah, and in that, knowing that this is somebody you, in the film, I could truly see that he believed that he loved them. So knowing that, how did you kind of like put that together, and how does that relate to the bipolar disorder?
To explain, I have bipolar too. So my mania and my depression isn't as extreme. So when you see people where it's just like they're super up and they're super happy, then they like crash down. Mine's is not like that. It's more like I can tell when I'm manic. You know what I mean? Like if I'm super focused on things and I'm cleaning the house and I can acknowledge like, okay, you're manic. Understand that, understand what's going on. When we were doing the scene, we were in a bed. What I wanted to portray was the feeling of just like Wes' character is like him talking to him is like hurting him. Because when I was going through it and I didn't have the help that I had, when my husband would try to talk to me and would try to get me out, it would like physically hurt me for him to even be in my presence. So that's why I had the character like moving a lot. That's why I'm like very fidgety, because I just wanted people to see like it physically hurts you just talking to me. It's not what you're saying to me. It's not, I understand you love me. I understand you want to help me, but you as a physical being talking to me right now physically hurts me. So I wanted to showcase that.
Yeah, because a part of that, you said, I think if I remember correctly, you said leave me alone.
Yes, yes.
And that was like part of the thing. It's like, wait, leave you alone. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. So that's a lot for somebody that's showing what you just said. You talking to me is bothering me. So just like leave me alone. Like forget that I'm going through something. Forget you love me. Forget you see that I'm going through something. But like leave me alone right now. So that was deep. And then again, speaking about bipolar, because we know that as Black men, we have this like need and expectation of like masculinity, right? And I think our community has done a lot of work on behalf of all Black men. We've helped the straights out too, as far as like kind of breaking some of that mold of what masculinity really means. Do you think that part of that feeling of that whole like leave me alone part of it was also some of the, I'm an adult, I'm a man, I'm gonna handle this on my own, leave me alone until I'm ready? Or was that because we know that also goes into, the stigma that Black men have with getting help, right? With going to therapy, with seeing someone when there's a problem and going to the doctor and different things like that.
To answer the question, to be honest, no. I've lived in my client all my life, so I've never presented like, oh, I need to be this strong Black man. That's never been my
Yeah.
experience.
Period.
I think just what the stigma of bipolar was, like
Mhm.
I something like people are gonna look at me like I'm crazy. Like people, my thing when I was younger and when I was trying to figure it out was I honestly thought people's perception of me was my reality. So anytime someone will put something on me, I feel like this is true. This is what it is. So if I tell someone I'm bipolar, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're crazy." I'm gonna believe that I'm crazy. So it took a lot of research. It took a lot of like learning myself and accepting myself, flaws and all, to feel comfortable to come out and say it. So it's more so just like a self thing, more as like a Black man thing.
That totally makes sense. It was really more just a struggle with, you know, what you were dealing with in that moment and less of the rest of that. Another thing with understanding that character, um, one thing I know for sure is that whenever there's, you know, struggle in a relationship or, you know, conflict going on, there's a lot of emotions, you know, back and forth in that. So the main struggle is the struggle that you're having, right? And then there's also other conflict with what's happening between the two of you. Do you think that, or even in your own experience, or even in the background for the characters, was there an air of maybe like guilt or like that, you know, I love you, but you know, I feel a little bit guilty that I'm actually putting you through something? Like, is that an emotion that comes up like when dealing with those type of situations and even with the characters?
Absolutely. That's why it was so important when Waves was going through what he was going through to be more self and be more like, you don't deserve this, go be free, your family, you know, what's right about me. Because in my real life, when we were going through things we were going through, that's how I felt. I felt like, listen, you have so much potential, you're a model, you're amazing. You don't need to be trying to figure out my mess, you know? So it was important for me to showcase that because that's the feeling that I was going through in real life.
So I know in the film there was a moment where you guys were able to, or the characters were able to finally come to the point of, you know, you're giving in and being able to accept the love. Is that what does that like look like? Is that, you know, a long road? Was it a long road in your experiences? Is that something that has to be, you know, you know, of course we know that something that has to be agreed on by both parties, but we saw the other character that was willing to give that time. But like, what is the path like to get to the point where you're able to give in? And is that reoccurring? Like, is that something that was an incident that occurs and okay, now we are over this hump? But does that come back again and again and again with dealing with having that illness?
For me and my husband, what we did very early on was have the like most uncomfortable conversation. So like once I expressed it to him, it wasn't just like I told him and he was like, "We're gonna get you help and it's gonna be great." Like I told him, but it was just kind of like I have this on my own. Like I don't need you because again, my fear of him judging me. I'm thinking
Mhm.
that if I do any little thing, he's gonna be like, "Well, there goes. It's because you're bipolar." So at first, it wasn't an open conversation, but I couldn't handle it on my own. I didn't know where to look, and I was such a person that was just ignoring it that he had to
Right.
jump in. And he sat me down one day and was like, "Listen, like, if we're gonna do this, this is before we even married." So, fun fact: in the film, it makes it like he told him after they got married. In my real life, we had conversations before we actually got married.
Mhm.
Um, but we sat down and we had those uncomfortable conversations and really just dug into not just, you know, my struggle, but his struggle and what does it look like. And it helped me be like, okay, like you have your things, you know what I mean? And I never seen those things. Those things didn't like scream out to me because I love you. And in my eyes, you're amazing and you're beautiful. So it made me understand like that's how you see me. You don't see my bipolar. You see the love, you see, you know, the great things about me. And we continue to do that, you know what I mean? Because life,
Mhm.
you grow, especially being married, you grow. So the struggles change, you know, like, so we just continue to keep having those conversations. We continue to keep, you know, being honest with each other. Like we have a thing like honesty hour. So if we say honesty hour, that means like you can't judge, you can't give me advice. I just have to get it
Mhm.
out and we handle it another time.
That's
So
so cute.
y'all,
Honesty hour.
yeah,
I like
That's
that.
cute.
y'all started the "we listen and we don't judge." Okay, y'all started it
Yeah,
for real, for real. Y'all were the
literally.
first ones.
Honesty hour. I like that.
Yes, yes, yes. So on that, guys, we are going to get back into this. We're definitely going to talk about the other character for sure. So we want to break into that. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to dig into the other character. So we will see you guys when we return. This is the Black Gay Agenda. See you guys when we get back.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the Black Gay Agenda, and this is the Black Gay Love Agenda. And we want to get more into our character, the character Wes. I'm sorry. It was very interesting because your character was like more on the supportive side. So like, even though like, you know, the story was between both of y'all, I want to get more into like your role, right? So like being like a caregiver in this sense, right? And loving someone through like bipolar depression or mental health is complex, right? How did you like show up for Wave, you know, while still taking care of yourself? Because you know, we didn't get to really see that side of the character, but I want to know, like, you know, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. And I don't know if you've noticed like the Easter egg in the film, but watch the shirt that I'm wearing. It has a very specific phrase on it. And I think what's shown off screen is that perhaps over time, um, Wes really loved Ways. Wes was really into this marriage. Wes was the one that really wanted to like get into this all. So I feel like Wes was the type of character that really took time to himself and really was doing the work to understand emotions, being mature, being patient, and seeing the decline and maybe it being gradual, like Tashin mentioned before, that it wasn't something like here and then there instantly. I'm sure that there was a slight decline. So maybe over time, this wasn't the first time they've had these conversations. This wasn't the first time that Wes perhaps might have uh, tried to acknowledge the changes that are happening. So he was embraced for it, he was ready for it. And I think this is just where it all came to a head. So I think Wes has always been that character to like fight in the relationship and because he didn't know what was going on. He just
Mhm.
knew that there were changes. So I think he was very aware of energy and things in their home and their lives, in their marriage that were a little off. So he knew how to jump to the occasion to kind of like save what was going on.
Yeah, and that's what I really admire about Wes because you made me think about something because I noticed like on the second portion of the film, right? Wes had on a shirt and it said energy is everything. So like even in those moments, right, you had to constantly like realize even with that shirt itself is so symbolic because y'all was going through a lot. And even like, you know, you feeling how heavy the energy is, you still decided to like stick by Wave's side. And like, it makes you go into my next question though. So like how have you ever questioned like if you could handle that? And if so, like what made you stay?
Like, would I be able to ever handle by like being told that my significant other has bipolar too?
Yeah. So like if your partner was like dealing with a mental health issue, like like if you question yourself, if you can handle it, like what would make you want to stay for that person?
Got you. Well, I always say like if I say again a Capricorn, if I say that I love you and I'm in this, I mean that, which means also I'm going to fight for it. As we've talked about before, like a lot of relationships, especially in the queer community, are easy to just walk away and give up on, like
Mhm.
relationships at the first sign of conflict. I'm a person that's going to exhaust every possible option and every avenue I can within myself because I want to say, not that I want it to be shown or said, but I want to know that I did all that I can to salvage this, to save this, because I'm invested. I'm in love. I want this
Mhm.
to work.
Mhm.
And love isn't running away at the first sign. So whether that means, all the conflict, all the static, sleeping on the couch or sleeping in separate spaces or anything like that, I'm fully aware that I believe I am capable of that as of right now. Now, granted, there are a lot of different things a lot of different factors may play into these different
Mhm.
conversations. But I will say that I still think I would show up to the occasion because, again, if I love you, I'm going to do what I can as much as I can until I can't no more. Um, and I know that that's necessary. I want you to know that I'm there for you. I want you to know that I'm not giving up. I want you to know that I want this. And if I wanted to leave, then I could. But I'm here for a reason. I'm obviously sticking around. So I think I definitely would be prepared for something like this. I've been in similar situations, maybe not to this caliber, that has taught me, has sharpened me over time to stay in it. Don't give up. Don't run away from things. I've been given up on just for other things in life, and I wish I always had that person nearby with me. So I don't ever want my person to feel like I'm giving up on them, because I may be that one person. I may change it all for them if I just gave up. Like, I may be that villain in their life that causes them to spiral out or take a different path in life. Not that that's like my cross to bear, but I know that if I can do all that I can to prevent that, to keep this, and serve as much love to you as I can, then I'm going to do that.
I
I'm
love
gonna
that.
tell you that. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
No, I was gonna say I love that. And something that like really was highlighted just from hearing you talk and then watching the film. I think a lot of people give up because they don't have conversations, right?
Mm,
If you know me, I live by conversations, right? Because conversations matter. Um, and I feel like a lot of conflict that we face, not just in our just not in our romantic relationships, but even platonic relationships,
mhm,
is a lack of a conversation. I remember there was a season of my life where I cut off I cut off a friend group just because, for me, when it comes to my friends, I always show up. Even when I don't want to show up, I'm going to show up. I'm going to support. I'm going to, whatever you got going on, I'm here. Your
mhm,
birthday event in fucking 5 degrees, I'm going to take my ass outside and I'm going to support, right? They didn't show up. A couple of them, like, they've dropped the ball real bad on my
mhm,
birthday. And I was just kind of like over it, right? So I slowly just like, I did the whole, it's fine. It's cool. No big
mm.
deal. But it was a big deal. It wasn't cool. And it
Was
100%
not fine.
It
wasn't
wasn't fun at
yeah.
all.
And it wasn't fine. And I've good 6 months, I didn't say nothing to them. And then I finally communicated to it. And
Mhm.
then we had a conversation. And I think that's
Yeah,
a part of the problem is a lot of times we don't have conversations, and we definitely don't have hard conversations. The conversation that the two of y'all had, your characters had in Just Us Two, was a hard conversation, right? And a lot of times people be like, "Oh, I'm not dealing with this. Fuck this shit. I could go find me another nigga who, and I don't have to deal with this." Right? That's the approach that we have. We talk about this all the time. We always feel like there's somebody better out there, right?
Mm.
And then nobody's actually building anything substantial because they're not taking that time to have those conversations. And you'd be surprised about how much progress you can make just off of having a conversation.
Yeah, to your point, I'm the exact same way. Um, when friends or platonic, even relationships, I'm going to have that hard conversation. Because I feel like, you learn the most when you have those conversations. And again, going back to that whole cupcake phase, all that shit is fine and dandy. I want to know you in conflict resolution. I want to know
yeah.
Mhm.
how we figure this out and how we maneuver in these emotions and these feels. And how do you communicate? Um, am I going to have to take a step back and maybe wait for you to communicate, or am I just going to bring the issue to the table, like, okay, hey, here's what this is, what's going on, or how can we go about it this way, or what changes do we need to make? So I'm a big advocate for having hard conversations, and I think that's probably also what made this film easy for me. Again, like I said, I had no challenges, and I think it allowed me to tap into that side of me of wanting to have those conversations and bringing it up, and being as matter of fact and like trying to figure it out without there being any stone left unturned.
I was gonna say something too, Michael, when you brought it up about having conversations, and I always think of both sides of the coin whenever I think of such scenarios like this, and it's something that I always say, because we say have the conversation, have the conversation, have the conversation, but we got to make sure that we're having a conversation correctly, right? Because what a lot of people do, and I know me and my mom would always have this conversation, is my mom is a very expressive person, And I'm the same way. But the difference between us is that I always tell her, I was like, you do you do say something in the moment, but you're not, what you're doing is you're giving them the results of what they did to you, right? So like if somebody did something and it made you upset, you're giving them upset. So in your mind, well, I said something, they know, no, because what you did was you reacted to what they did, but you didn't tell them how it made you feel. So what happens in a lot of those situations when you don't have full conversation and tell people how you feel and how what they did made you feel, you can react and they looking at you like, what is wrong with you? Because they obviously didn't know, especially if this is somebody that's supposed to love you, that what they did hurt you. So your reaction to them, kind of like yours, Michael, you didn't say anything to them. They thinking like, oh, he mad about something, whatever. He mad, he'll be mad, he'll get over it. Where in your mind, you're like, your reaction was to the anger. It wasn't to, hey, y'all, that really hurt my feelings. Like, I thought y'all loved me. I support you. Why don't you support me? And then the other thing that I was going to say is in the last segment, we talked about guilt of Wave's guilt of, like, you know, putting the character West through that. But like, I know Spaz, you said you've gone through similar situations where you were on the same side that you played in the film, and so have I. And in situations where we had to split. And I want to say, for me, there was a lot of guilt even in that. Even knowing that I showed love, and I felt that I did all I can do without putting myself at detriment, or even putting myself at detriment sometimes, and still, you know, doing all I can do. There's still a huge amount of guilt on even that side of it. So I think a lot of people need to know too, like, both parties need to be getting help, because it's a lot of for both, and it's a lot of guilt that, even if, say, this story didn't go how this story went, right, and they decided to do differently. I don't want to spoil it for people, you know, that might did. We kind of did, but whatever. But if it wouldn't have went the way that it went, there's guilt on the other side too, right? Guilt that you made a decision. Do you think that in that situation, if in the ones that you had, have you had any that went the other way, where you did decide to, you know, take a stand and move on or leave? Have you felt that guilt of leaving and wondering if you did all you could do?
Yeah. Absolutely, because I love hard and I care harder as well. And it really does mess up my mind sometimes. I'm like, how can you not receive this? How can you not accept this and me being here with you? And then also, I don't want their situation to be that immediate, like, red flag, that immediate no for me in the future for somebody else. Like, if dealing with someone that in the film, like, what if, like you said, if it, not to spoil, but if it like ended differently, maybe in the future, like if they moved on and or whatever happened, if I came across someone else similar that had that same thing, or maybe a similar situation, would I then be closed off to wanting to pursue or wanting to love or wanting to show kind of any kind of affection or open up to an individual because I then was scarred, or I'm still dealing with the guilt of this over here? Um, so that does play on my mind a lot of times when I go through similar situations, like I have in the past. And going back to the whole conversation thing, I wish I could. I wish it's one of those things where you wish you would have said something. You wish you would have said more. I wish I could have said this. Whether not even for things to be made up, but just to say that and let it be known, like, hey, this is what I really felt. I really showed up for you. I really care for you. I don't want it to be seen as if I ran or I just gave up or I wasn't fit for this. Um, so I say get the help. If you're listening to this and watching this and you are on either side of the game, definitely get the help. Get help. Help is out there. And even if you're not dealing with a situation like this in life, what we're living through right now, we need help. Okay, period. So get the help.
Okay.
I agree.
That was beautifully said, because like that kind of like answered the question that I was going to ask you about the character. Like, like what advice would you give someone in your shoes, someone deeply in love with a partner struggling with their mental health? You just
Yeah,
I didn't answer
I
that
would
one. So.
say, especially when you're in a same-sex relationship, you got egos, you got energy, you got a lot going for you, you got a lot going up against you. So you really, really, really have to like want it. You know, if you want it as bad as you say you do, then you got to show it. Don't just say it. You know, let it show for itself.
Well, honestly, Spaz, you kind of like ate that because I feel like, if we want sustainable and long lasting relationships, we gotta have clear communication and we gotta be able to understand when we're wrong and understand like when something's worth chasing and worth having. Because sometimes we're so quick to give up and just leave when shit hits the fan, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but actually, I wanted to dive into our next segment moving forward as actors because like y'all hit so many great points tonight, and we just want some. These are some questions that we have for those who are interested in acting and those who don't know where to start and everything. So the first question I do have for you guys: what do you hope viewers, especially Black queer folks, take away from your performances?
Go ahead, Tashin.
Um, honestly, to be so honest, I feel like what I want people to take away from it is just do it. You know, like I don't have any training on acting. I didn't go to any school on acting. We didn't do this on an expensive phone. I mean, on expensive camera equipment. We did it on a phone. So I want people to know, like, just do it. If you feel like you can do something, if you believe you can do something, just do it. If you feel like I can act, then act, like I was tired of going on auditions and they'd be like, oh no, you were just okay. I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll just make my own shit and just act my own shit. So I just was like, just do
Period.
it, like just whatever you want to do it.
Yeah, ditto. um, I would say that damn, that was so good. What was the question again?
Um, what do you hope viewers like, especially Black queer folks, take away from y'all performances? Because y'all could have got nominated for an Oscar if you ask me. So
That's what I was saying.
Period. So a
Totally.
fun fact, one fun fact, you saying that one thing that we will always do after every filming and after every table read, we will say that let's get this Oscar. So we're going to get that Oscar.
Yes.
Period.
Amen.
It's already ours. We already got it. It's already on my mantle. But one thing I do want people to take away from this performance. Well, first of all, this is my first um, acting role as a lead or period that has seen the light of day. I've been a part of some projects that didn't make the cut, but so this is my first. So thank you, Tashin, for trusting in me and bringing this character to life for one. And I would say that if you have a friend, if you have someone who approaches you and they see something in you, ride with it. You know, there may be
Hmm.
some undiscovered, something in you that make it come to light. Um, some untapped talent in you. So I would say trust it. If someone sees that in you, trust it. Give it a try. Give it a shot. I'm always a person that says you don't want to ever wonder what if. So
Yes.
because
mm-hmm.
I took this. Here I am because I took Tashim's offer to be a part in a very small role in our the very first project that we were working on together with someone else, and then saying yes to that second project that we've mentioned before that led to this. Um, we're going places with this. Like if I would have said no, I wouldn't be Oscar bound. You know, I wouldn't have that already. So I would say trust that. I would say definitely trust that feeling. Trust yourself, trust your talent, trust what people see in you. Some people see light in you, some people see different things in you that you may not see. So I'll say trust it.
It's funny you say that because I mean, honestly, I can speak for. I'll speak for me. I probably I'll assume I'm speaking for Justin as well. We wouldn't be here if not for that same thing. Somebody,
Hmm.
Michael saw things in people, in the people that were show.
Period.
he
Give him his
saw
flowers.
saw he saw things in us, and showed us, and now we're here, right? Because we said yes. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't
Mhm.
a, it wasn't a, it wasn't a, it wasn't a thing of we asked him or it didn't, it wasn't. yeah, we didn't know it was coming. You know, it was a matter of being in the right place at the right time for me, and then being asked after that, and me saying yes. You know what I mean? So I had said this a while ago because I had a really big thing with my with I don't want to say self-esteem because I've never had self-esteem issues, but I had a lot of fear about um doing things that I wanted to do and knowing that I was good, but not thinking that other people would think I was good. You know what I mean? And people close to me may be saying I may be good at something, but I'm like, y'all just care about me. So y'all just saying it because of that. But I had went through a phase where I told myself, say yes to everything. If somebody asks you to do something, do it because two things will happen. You're gonna be good at it or you're gonna be bad at it. And if you're good at it, boom, you didn't know you were. If you're bad at it, well, now move on to something else. So I like that you said it because that's real.
Have a spirit of
Yeah.
discernment though, because if you say yes to the wrong thing now, that's a
No.
little.
But I do also want
Baby,
to say
I'm
one
a
thing as well. I do want to say I hope that people see what we was able to do with the film. It inspires them because I would say that doing this film and putting this film out really put my faith back in my community. You know, the reason why the film is named Just Us Two is because when me and my husband decided to get married in real life, our small community literally turned their backs on us. Like it was literally just
Mm.
me and him. Like our rings in real life have Just Us Two engraved in it. So when I was like about
Oh,
to put it out and stuff, I was
so
like, oh, I
beautiful.
don't know. Oh, thank you. When I was about to put it out, I was like, oh, I don't know, because again, I had that PTSD of like my community
mhm.
turning their backs on me, and to see how much everyone has just shown up and poured into this film, and everyone is just taking away from it and supporting it. It's people that I don't even know. That's just like, oh my God, guys, go watch this. It really, 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 really put that back into me. Like it really made me be like, wow, like I have not only a small, amazing community now, but also just like the gay community. Like I really seen what we can do when we lift each other up. Like I am blown away. I'm not gonna hold you, I am blown away.
Quick question. What's we love one thing that I love doing with my guys is being like, hey y'all, last week's episode, this is what the numbers is looking like. Y'all have pretty good numbers, and I know this isn't on the script, Justin, my apologies, but like
It's
how has
okay.
that been like just like taking in like just the widespread love that this has been getting?
I do update them because I see it, so I do literally be like, guys, we are this close. So when we were first putting it out, me and my best friend, who's the cameraman, we were literally like, listen, if we get like 100 the first night, we'll be so happy. We was like, if we get 1,000 by the end of the week, we'll be great. And like my end goal was 10K. Like I was like, if we touch 10K in the end, like I'll be okay. Right now we're at like 8.7, and it's literally hasn't been a week yet. So it's just been like now we're
Wow.
counting down to the
Woo.
10K. I'm like, guys, we're 1.5 away from 10K. So it's been super exciting. It's and just not just the views, but like people leaving the comments and just saying how it resonated with them. Like people, I think everyone that I send it to comes back and be like, listen, I resonated with this part. I see myself in this. A lot of people say it was triggering, so I wish I would have put more of cautious before, but just that
Yeah,
is
trigger warning.
fulfilling emotion. That means like people are watching and they're paying attention and they're wrestling with the film. So it's just been it's been amazing. Like I'm gassed. And it's also because it's Spaz. Spaz is the celebrity of this film. Okay, everybody who writes to me about the film, whether I know them or if I don't, they say Spaz by name. They don't be like, oh, the other actor. They're like, no, I love Marcus. I love Spaz. So it's because of Spaz. He's the star. Yeah, he
This
gets
is
the
not
list.
Watashi Wasta.
You're welcome.
That's please.
No, I
Continue.
mean that was honestly like I think earlier, like even just watching it as from a audience perspective, like my biggest takeaway, just even from looking at y'all, was like self advocacy, right? Because you said something earlier, you was like that you never went to acting school, you got denied for roles. However, you was like, you know what? I see this opportunity. You want to tell your story, and you did just that. And I love how like every shot made a every shot was a moment for me. And then
Mhm.
also too, like even it felt longer than 15, 16 minutes. Like I feel like every moment of the film, it was just like it was very it reeled you in. And I feel like as the minute went on, it kind of made you question like what's going on and everything. So honestly, like that was pretty admirable. Like, you know, just seeing how, you know, you directed it, wrote, just seeing your name constantly, and seeing how well y'all executed the roles. It was magnificent. For real, for real.
Very
I will say,
intentional.
I will say that I have to give Tashima's props, which is rare.
Yeah,
No,
I
but I
guess.
have to give because I always have my notes.
Let's record this moment, guys. This is the first. This is an exclusive.
Yeah, I gotta give Tashima's props because one, again, me never have done anything like this before. It gave me confidence, and I love and appreciate his writing and his directing style. So like I mentioned before, like a lot of we had lines, we had scripts, and you know, it could be really intimidating when you see that you have monologues and like long lines and kind of
Mhm.
like memorizing things. But one thing
Mhm.
Tashim emphasized was like, make it your own. Like you let that be a foundation. You don't necessarily have to go word for word. Granted,
Yeah.
there are like key bullet points, maybe a word or a phrase that we wanted to highlight, but it really made it easy for me to be more of myself in the character without like
Mhm.
thinking like line for line. So a lot of what you see in the film is us going off of each other. He's a good one for throwing in and changing the script at the very last second, at the moment. And you kind of just have to go with it. So it like I said before, like there's a lot of improvised moments, a lot of improvised lines in the film, and I have to give him props for one, bring that out in me and trusting me to be this character, and allow himself to be vulnerable in this film with me. But also just your skill, like the way that you're able to direct and create is just brilliant. So you get it this one time. So
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna cherish it forever.
I have a quick question because I'm in an upcoming in a play myself, and I know one thing that a lot of people have as actors, especially when you have a decent sized role, is like remembering lines. Like, so to people that are aspiring to acting or they have a part and it's their first part and they're trying to like learn lines, what is a tip, and this is for either of you, Tashima Spaz, like what are some tips that you could give people to like remember their lines at the same time embody the characters that they've been given?
I'm not gonna answer that because I
and I feel like I'm the wrong person to answer this question because
yeah, I'm gonna stay quiet.
um and I think we both did it too, while filming. I think one, like definitely like reading over the script. I think if you're able to do table reads, that kind of helps break down like any nerves, any weird likeness that may come up. Because there's one thing that when you actually have to like act in front of people, especially when it's like a larger group of people. So definitely doing a table read if you can. Of course, look over your lines, and if you have the ability to kind of like make it your own or like put your spin on it, I would say do the best you can and doing that and bringing life to it because it could sound robotic, it could sound inauthentic, otherwise. And I mean, I suck at maybe like memorizing the script, so a lot of the times I would do it the day of. We would go over the script, and of course, like I have a gist of the conversation, I have a gist of like what's going on. But we had long car rides from Harlem to Philly where I'll be reading the script and reading the lines because I remember them in the moment. For me, personally, for me.
Mhm.
Um, so I would definitely say, you know, maybe don't do that, but if that works for you, know how your mind works, but still be able to operate, be able to perform.
Okay, Mr. Samuel L. Jackson, you just get into character. Like
Yeah, literally.
you said, you know what?
I don't need no
You said
script.
okay, and honestly, I think that's actually pretty like powerful too as a creative because I feel like when you're a creative and you're an artist, like you can kind of envision yourself into anything, and you just kind of using one area of creativity and placing it in another area. So that's
Hmm.
actually that's pretty dope. And also like I feel like y'all characters had a lot of chemistry, and of course, everybody anticipated this film, and everyone is loving it. My question to y'all, like, do y'all would y'all be open to revisiting these characters in a future project, or like, if
Mm.
so, what would y'all want to explore next in their journey? Because that'll be hot. All right.
Yes, so I don't know if I could say. Hopefully I can. Hopefully, because I'm speaking, hopefully that means fast is okay, and he's gonna come back. But I am working on something. I am working on something that it's not a sequel. I think my life is a
Hmm.
sequel, but I'm working on something in the same world. So you'll see Waves and Wes again, but they'll be expanded in there. You'll see more people from their lives. And this one will be lighter, I think this was
Ooh.
heavy, and I'm glad that we got to like really, have these conversations because they're so important. But I also think the climate of the world right now, we need things that feel good, and
Yes.
Hmm.
so the next thing is gonna be a lot lighter.
Once he
That's dope.
negotiates my contract, we'll discuss those things.
You is a
You guys
king.
make it,
Child,
please.
make sure you got a lawyer, Tasha, because I feel like I don't know what's going on with Spaz over here. Make sure you got your lawyer on deck.
Hmm. Hmm. Prices have gone up.
You said once you get that 10K, the price is going
Okay, let's
up.
get that
I know
10K.
my worth. I gotta
Make sure
protect
you
my peace.
notify me.
You say you gotta protect your peace, huh?
I protect my peace. I know my
Right.
worth.
All right. They gonna Aunt Viv you. He gonna Aunt Viv you if you're not
Okay.
careful.
Okay, put you right out.
And I tell, all right, I tell her I'll be back here on this podcast doing a tell all.
That is not the same character. What happened?
Like, wait a minute.
Here's the
See what,
tea.
see what happened was,
But
but
yes, I think.
what were you gonna say, Touching?
No, I was gonna say like I think the next project is gonna be like something that we really, 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 really need. And I'm like really, really excited. I think seeing the response from this, it was really great, but I'm like, I kind of think I know what the girls want. So I'm excited for that
Hmm.
one.
Uh,
Uh-oh,
okay.
you gonna do
All
some
right.
sex
I
stuff?
already. There's gonna be
Because that's what the girls want from their content. They
Right?
love the shows, they favorite shows. Child.
Let me tell you,
That's
y'all, the girls, y'all are hearing it here first. But before we wrap up, y'all, not only individuals in our age range has watched this film, maybe some freshly 18-year-old, freshly graduated individuals have watched this. Any advice for them, watching this film, whether it's from an acting perspective or, whether it's from identity or mental health, in relationships, anything that, y'all want to say to them, this is like the moment to like share. If you guys have anything to say.
To the Gaybies.
Yeah, for the babies out there.
Um, Multiple things. One, the first thing is people's perception of you is not your reality. So do not let what people put on you become who you are. You know who you are, believe who you are, believe in yourself, no matter
Come
what.
on.
Second is have those conversations with your loved ones. If you need help, it's okay to get help. It's okay to ask for help. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you weird. It's super okay. Like Spas said earlier, there's so many resources out there. There's so many people that are out there like you. I really, really went through this film because when I was growing up, beyond just the mental health part, but just like as a Black gay man, I never seen
Hmm.
myself, like I never seen myself.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my friend had a conversation yesterday. So, excuse me. Me and my friend had a conversation a few weeks ago when Doji had her speech. And she was like, this is for every Black, woman. And I was like, oh, but I'm not a Black woman. And I can relate to it, but like, I'm not a
Right.
Black woman. And I was like, it's so important for one of us to get up there and say that. You know what I mean? So like, we
wow.
can see
Yeah.
ourselves. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we can be like, okay, go. So like, but I want this film to be that because it's gonna go up. We're gonna go up. So I want people to see this film and be like, okay, like I can chase my dreams. I can do what I have to do. I'm not gonna
Right.
allow what people want from me because fun fact, funding was all on me because there were so many no's. There were so many people like, oh, I don't think people want this right now. I don't think this is the
Wow.
topic that we need to do. There were so many no's, even down to the screening. So many people was like, no. But I didn't put that on my team or the actors. Like Spasmon didn't know that. If I told them we were gonna do something, we did it, even if it came out of my own pocket. That could have been, like, okay, guys, let's not do it. Nobody believes in it, but I stuck through it because I believed in this film and I believed in the message, and I feel like I'm getting the fruits of that. So that's the message. Like, do what you want to do for you, and don't let nobody take that away from you.
That's good.
Love that. How do I follow up behind that? I would definitely say that um just do it. Whatever that project is, whatever that content is, whatever that opportunity is, just do it. Um, even if you don't, let's say, follow the path of success with it fully and like off the first jump, off the first leap of faith, it's not the end of the world. Um, like Tasheen mentioned, like we shot this on iPhones. Like we did, there was no big budget. And one thing I hear a lot of creatives often say when it comes to like whether they're streaming or wanting to get into photography or videography or something, they feel like they need all the big bad equipment. No, just do it. You got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you can create. Just do it. Um, don't be afraid of what people may like, the critiques you may face, because that's just what part of what comes with it. And if you are a friend who has a creative friend, support them if they need you to act in it, if they need you to be any
Yes.
kind of supportive role in it, whether it's behind the scenes or in front of the camera, whatever that looks like, be that for them, because they need it. And finding help is hard. Finding fellow creatives
True.
who want to do it without thinking of dollar signs and things is hard. Especially in our age group in this day and age, everybody wants a handout. Everybody wants something for themselves. So support your creative friends, support your artistic friends, um, and for somebody like me who has no acting experience, and somebody presents an acting opportunity to you, take it, do it, try it, because you will
Mm-hmm.
learn. And I see myself now like being like, okay, I could do this. I wanted more from the film, so I wish I could have seen more of me acting and doing that. So I wanted more.
Get
I wanted
out.
more.
Get
Oh
out.
my God,
I
main
wish I could
character
have seen more
energetic.
of
I wanted
me.
more of me. You know what I'm
Jesus.
saying? I have a story to tell. Wes's story
Oh,
need to
Yes.
be told.
brother.
Like Wes has a lot to say.
Okay.
But just do it. Be the change that you want to be. Don't think about the accolades and like all those things. Just create, and people will follow. People will find the authenticity in what you're doing, and they will become fans. They will love it. They will support. Opportunity will come from that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Two things that you said there that I want to touch on before I kick it back to you, Justin. Right. Number one, I don't believe that help is hard to find, but I do believe that good help is hard to find. Right.
There you
You
go.
I
Yeah.
believe
speaking?
that good help is hard to
Hmm.
find. And what I've noticed is when you bring people on a team, and when you're building a team, you got to make sure that you're bringing in people who are good help. You don't want just a body, because when you just have a body, that's literally what they are. They're just a body, right? And then you got to bring in people who believe in what you're doing. One thing that I've noticed
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
is if you believe in something as a creative and you're showing up even when there's no necessarily monetary payment attached, and then you do it with excellence and you continue to build, and then you add in consistency and all of that good shit, right? And building community with the people who do follow you and support you, that shit's just bound to blow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing I've also you talked about, just do it, right? Just do it, and don't worry about the. We all worry about the insights. We all worry about the analytics because that shit is important. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, it's not the only thing. What's the most important thing is your consistency, right? And one thing that I've noticed is there's a lot of people who are watching that you might not even know they're watching because they might not say anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could be like, there was a time where I was gonna shut the. Listen, grand opening, grand closing, right? I was gonna shut. It was last season, and I was gonna like, we're shut. I'm closing the doors, right? This shit is done. Black Gay Agenda is over. But then I realized that the platform is important, right? And
Hmm.
there's people who come here and they're looking for something on this platform, and we're providing a safe space, and we're providing literally why I started this was because I wanted to have a platform that I didn't have growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that could have changed something like this back when I was in high school or as a young
True.
adult,
True.
right? College age. That could have changed the trajectory of my life and made me avoid a lot of different paths. So it's like you gotta keep
Mm-hmm.
pushing. But then once you also gotta realize is those opportunities, once you continue to be consistent, once you continue to show up, then you're gonna get those opportunities and people are gonna want to be a part of it, or people are gonna be like, I'm about to. Yeah, I can announce it. Yeah, I can announce it. I was thinking of a time frame, but boom. Like for instance, I'm about to open up for Tia's Medicine again for the second time. Right, for the second
Period.
time within like 6 months.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Yes.
thank you. And that all came from me being consistent, right? You get
Mhm.
noticed when you're consistent. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the important thing for anybody. Like we all want, everybody wants to be the next, whatever, whatever. No, just be you. Just be
Mm-hmm.
you because when you're you, the people who you're assigned to and the people who are supposed to be, in your life and in your community, they're gonna come. And then that's when the success is gonna come.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And thank you for sharing that, Michael, because that's real. Like I feel like when you're authentic, and you have people around you who support you, and you're also supporting your vision, it's going to always work out for you, regardless. And
I mean,
I
I couldn't
wish.
do this without you and Alex. And like, y'all are important. Y'all are important. Y'all are important. Okay,
Don't make me
y'all
cry.
are an important part. There's no
You
Beyonce here.
are
Everybody's
important
Beyonce,
to me.
right?
Okay.
I need you
Everybody's
to.
Michelle. Everybody's Kelly. But yeah, no, but yeah, like
Ladies.
so everybody. I feel like I couldn't do this without y'all, and I think y'all believed in something. I think that's the main thing for creatives and artists. Like you have to create shit that people want to believe in and be a part
Mm-hmm.
of it.
Mm-hmm.
And because when you do that, oh my god, you can go so far. I look at, we talked about Doshi. Like Doshi, okay, not to toot my own horn, but toot. I
Okay.
said on this podcast last year and was ridiculed, right? I was basically
Persecuted.
sodomized. I was sodomized by
Valentine's
like
your name.
is that I don't think that's the right word I'm looking for.
Sodomized? Did we do it on the show?
But y'all
Live?
y'all told me I was
Okay.
crazy when I was singing the praises of Doshi, right?
Not me. Not me.
Y'all, watch that y'all word.
Okay. And no,
You
but
said
for
that
real,
she
no,
has
I
help.
I I said on this podcast, and I was like,
No,
for real,
yeah,
like
you
she
did. You
slept
did.
on, like
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah,
just
you
like
did.
singing
He
her
did
praise.
though.
And the one thing because I've been since Doshi since the first mixtape, right? And
Mm,
I watched her build this community and like build this. So like literally, Alex would tell you we were in the same we were at a first Sunday event the night of the Grammys.
mm,
Jamil, Mill Ticket, we had him on the show last season. We were literally in the club, right? People drinking, the DJs playing music. When they announced her for Best Rap Album, all the gay boys in there was like, yeah.
It was like the gay Super Bowl. Okay,
Yeah, it was like yes.
and
It
your
was like
team
the
won.
gay
Okay.
Super Bowl. I love that. It was
That's the
like
best way to
yeah, you
describe
just
it.
won touchdown, boom. Like it was crazy, and just watching that. Why? It's because she's built a community of people who
Mm-hmm.
believe in her, believe in our art. It means something. So
Mm-hmm.
I think all of that to say, like creatives, artists, y'all just need to create something that means something. Don't try to do what Natalie Nunn and Lemmy are doing over there, right? No shade to them. No shade to them, but I feel like we have enough of that. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
We have enough of that. So like it's so refreshing to see so all full circle to see what you all did with just us two.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
we don't have enough of that. And
Mm-hmm.
hopefully y'all inspire other people to create more stories. And listen, I love the mess and then I love the sex. But we need more than mess and sex in our stories because we're so much, so much more.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say one thing. I do want to credit just as to like being birth to Spaz. We were filming another project that probably wouldn't have represented us in the best light. And we were like about to wrap up, and we were talking about like funding and things like that. We were walking on the bridge, and I was like, "Oh, like you do this. I need help. Like, how do I get money?" Like, and he asked me a question. He was like, "The project that we were doing." He was like, "What does it have to say?" And I was like,
Mm.
I don't know. And then like sat with me for like days and weeks. And I was like, what does this project have to say? And it didn't have anything to say. So
Mm.
yes, I just want to thanks for that.
Thank
There you
you.
go with the
Thank you
crown.
so much for that. It's just a part of who I am and what I do. you know, I'm glad you took that and ran with it and created this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Perfect. I was gonna just encourage y'all another thing to what Michael mentioned about the gay Super Bowl party that we was at. That the other thing that happened is that same cheering happened for Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put that into perspective, right? Beyonce and Doechii received the same cheering at this party from the people that support them, from the same people, right? So for y'all, like, don't get discouraged because you ain't Beyonce, right?
Mm.
But the people are gonna do the same cheering. Like, y'all better receive this word, okay? Y'all, okay? This is a prophetic word that I'm putting out here.
No, yeah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
You hear me? That's a sermon. Now y'all didn't catch it. Y'all better catch on to it. No, but seriously though, like that was that. As soon as he said that, it popped right back up. Like that same crowd, that same cheer, that same my team won was the same cheer that Beyonce got, was the same cheer that Doechii got. So that
Exactly. But it comes to that time of the night, y'all. I do want to wrap it up, but before I wrap it up fully, I gotta thank you too. We gotta thank you too for coming on here and giving us your time, your energy, your space to have this conversation more about just us two. You two were magnifico, chef's kiss.
is this Italian you're speaking now? Is this from Italy?
just a little, un poquito.
I
But
got one more question for them, Justin.
what's up?
When is New York Pride?
That's in June, I
Black Pride?
believe.
During a Cowboy Carter tour.
Oh, sorry to this girl.
She kind of messed up my plans for this year because I was about to do the circuit, right? I was going to do like DC Pride, New York Pride, ATL
You
Pride.
gotta choose.
Gotta choose this day who you will serve, right? Then I
Beyonce.
still gotta pay for Kendrick and SZA.
Because she's also touring during DC Black Pride too. So again, you gotta choose.
I think they'll all go to Beyonce. Just
Yeah,
choose
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Duh.
Choose Beyonce. You
Receive
will
the
leave
girl
a different
another time.
person. You won't leave a different person that from.
Or you might leave
But
a
you
different
might,
person.
depending on the pride of the city.
But fellas, can y'all let us know? Can y'all let us and let the followers know where we can keep in touch with y'all on social media?
Oh, for sure. You can follow me at Kiss My Spaz. That's at KISSMYSPAZ 1Z on all social media platforms.
You can find me on YouTube, Just Us Two by Tashi Ingram. You can find me there. If you need to look for me, I'm right there. So if you need to look for me, Just Us Two by Tashim Ingram. You have to put the by Tashim Ingram because it might not pop up. So Tashim Ingram. Even if you get the Tashim wrong, Ingram is INGRAM. So just, if you need to find me, just look for me there. Please.
Period.
Michael, what do people can find you at?
You can find me on LinkedIn. No, girls don't use it. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok at it's Micah B. All right, and that's all you need to know right now.
Well, I am on Instagram at XanderT82. That is XANDERT82. Same thing on TikTok. And same thing on Twitter. There's an underscore in there somewhere. You'll find it.
Period. And of course, y'all know y'all can find me at the Justin B. Smith on Instagram, TikTok, and I'm actually active on LinkedIn and popping on LinkedIn. So you can add me there too. But on a serious note, you all, thank y'all for listening tonight. I know that y'all had a great time because we definitely had a great time. Feel free to leave an honest review and rating on our Spotify as well as on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to YouTube so y'all can see our beautiful faces and see our guests' beautiful faces on YouTube. But
And
with
they're
that being said,
beautiful.
beautiful people, they are. With that being
Thank you.
said, grab your purses and clutch your pearls because this is the Black Gay Agenda. Good night, y'all.
Night.